Disclosure. So after we
I
start,
catch it again. Can you hear me? We're
Yep.
live now, so stop picking your nose.
yeah,
Hey, all right, good. Let me put the disclosures up. Welcome aboard, everybody. We got our disclosures to share with you all. Much obliged for you all being here. Kim, appreciate you being here. I've already monetized, so I can get that sweet, sweet YouTube money. So remember, nothing we're giving you is tax advice. What else, Amar? I always forget.
we haven't taken your accounts or your situation into account.
Yep.
This is all just educational information, and we're just providing content. It's not specific advice for any one person.
Kim, while we're waiting for people to roll in, we'll just say it on you first. You got anything to ask, either Amar or me? We got some stuff to talk about here, but Kim, just we appreciate you being here. Hey, Chicken Charlie, anything jump out at you, Kim, that you want to, get Amar's take on while we're you did that, Amar? You just got.
I just stopped sharing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
So let's see if Kim or Chicken Charlie, because he's always on here at the start, so that's good. So if you two have anything you want us to talk about real quick, we'll see what you all have. Hey, Jill. All right, right on. Good. All right, fantastic. And then we can start our little thing. So while we're waiting, Amar, all right, guys. So Charlie says thanks for the podcast here. Right on, man.
Yeah.
How do you want to start this? So maybe you just take it away and start how you want to, Amar, in terms of what you need to do before you quit your job and go on to your second life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But I think before we start that, it's like what's it called, preamble to what we're going to talk about, or precursor to what we're talking about here.
Absolutely.
Is we finished the 13 wealth management issues, right? And so Josh and I are looking through the comments and getting suggestions for future videos from comments that you guys put. So please, after the recording, just put comments in there. We look at all those comments. We even comment on some of your comments, and suggestions for future videos are much appreciated, because we want to be talking about things that are important to you guys, as well as making sure that we're not just rambling on over here. But for today's video, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I also work with a lot of people that are doing their second career or their second act in life, right? And usually that means leaving a job or leaving some sort of stable income, which both Josh and I have done, right? We actually have real life experience in this, and we have experience helping thousands of clients over our careers do the same thing. I think a lot of times, if we're in a job that we're not just so passionate about, or we're leaving because of office dynamics or whatever it may be, the second career really allows you to align what's important to you. So your values, what you enjoy doing, what's important to you, to making a business, to growing that business, to really giving you that freedom of time that we're all looking for. So Josh and I, we made a list of like top 5 things that you should consider, or things that we've talked to people that I think have really resonated. So this is not an exhaustive list of all the things that you should consider, but these are things that when we've talked to clients about, or that we've gone through.
All right, there you go. Right, can you hear me, Amar? I don't know if it's you or you, Buff. Okay. I want to share too, by the way, you can download Amar's, he's got this great right here, planning for your next decade. This is fantastic. And if you want to be part of Amar's email campaign, he sends a monthly email. You're not going to get bombarded. Sign up. But anyway, we
only do one email a month. Yep. And you can download the next decade planning worksheet there. And we'll talk about that towards the end. Yep.
I love make this next decade your best one yet, Amar. I think that's fantastic, because make this decade is like, you're never going to be this young and probably this sprite again. Make it count, man. And so we got Mushki says, I quit my job 3 weeks ago, retired and loving it. Thank you, Josh. Opened my eyes and debunking the myth that I'd need at least $1 million saved. That right on. I mean, that's the thing. And So Amar and I used to drive from Buckhead back home to Alpharetta, North Fulton County. And I remember we just chat, and he was in San Diego. I said, all right, how are we going to do this? We were both planning it, and it didn't happen overnight. So let's just dive into it. I think you'll.
So the 5 things. So let's start with the first one, right?
Yep. The income needs and expenses. So take it away, Amar. Absolutely.
Yeah, income needs and expenses. I mean, before you decide to leave your job, you should really identify what your income needs or your expenses are going to be. Things like, Josh was making this long drive. Well, he's not going to have to make that long drive, if he started his own business. But he may have more expenses by being home all day, using electricity, water, whatever it may be. Yeah. But there are other things like that you'll need to get your head around so that you can kind of figure out how do you recreate your paycheck for the next couple of months while your next endeavor is starting, right?
And recreate your paycheck. Well, you got to know what you're recreating. It's if you're going to quit your job, regardless if you're retiring or just going into something different, you need to know how much you need to survive. Yeah. And we don't necessarily want it to be Dave Ramsey where he says eat beans and rice. It's not necessarily the worst thing ever, but you got to know what you need. And if you don't, that could be bad.
Yeah, and it may be a situation where if you're, let's say you're husband and wife, and let's just say the wife is leaving her job to start her own business or her own thing, that you may be able to float on one income.
Yes.
Your savings may take a hit, but you're able to make your ends meet, so that gives you time to start your business. Or it could be a situation where, hey, we're gonna downsize during this process, and we don't need the space or the expenses, or if you're going to be an empty nester at this time period of life, your expenses could naturally be going down as well, right? So getting a handle on what your income needs and expenses are, I think, is like the one thing that we see all the time is very very need to put in focus. Now, that's when you have certainty, right? So the second thing is when there's uncertainty in life. And we can always plan for the best scenario, but we should also know that life is not 100% certain. There's always things that happen. So replacing your employer benefits. So here we're talking about health insurance, right, is a big one. Life insurance is another one. And one of the things that that I've experienced as an advisor is that I had a client once where they were leaving their husband and wife. Husband was leaving his job to start his own consulting business. 6 months into leaving, he had a health problem, and starting that consulting job was out of the question, right? But making sure that you have the health insurance and life insurance, because some of those things, you don't know. They may happen, right?
Well, the health insurance is number one all the time. And so I was talking to these people from San Diego, Amar, absolutely now in your neck of the woods, just on Saturday. And they sold their house or condo in San Diego. So they're sitting on a bunch of cash. And the wife is like, I don't know if you can afford health insurance. Like, well, you have all this cash, which means you have no real taxable income, which means Obamacare premiums are going to be a big fat goose egg. They're not quite nothing, but certainly affordable. You see what I'm saying? It's like you don't have to worry about $2,000 a month on Obamacare if you're living on your cash savings. And she's like, whoa, really? I say, exactly. I mean, I'm telling you. And as such, that changed the whole trajectory of retiring. In this case, it's literally retiring, but it could be anything. You say, you don't know if you don't know, you might be overestimating what you think you need, especially when it comes to health insurance. And I hear this a lot, actually. I need $2,000, and you might need $2,000 a month in health insurance, but not if you're living off $60,000 a year. Hell, these people, because they have so much in cash from selling their condo, Amar, they could live off $100,000 a year and basically have no taxable income at all. They have nothing on their 1040 because they're just pulling out of their cash account. And as such, they will qualify for Obamacare benefits. And it may be the right solution for them to get them through the gap year so they
qualify for Medicare, right?
Yep.
And so Cobra, Medicare, there's all these other options out there, like the healthcare exchange, that you can get some coverage of those benefits.
Right here.
Some of those benefits may not be affordable.
So, Ron, health insurance is a per benefit for employer. What are the premiums if I go to own or get on Obamacare? That's so assuming we're going to look at getting on Obamacare, it's contingent on your income, if that makes sense. Kind of like Japan. I just learned this today. Japan has health insurance costs that are contingent on your income. So if your income is low, the Obamacare premium credits are freaking fantastic. It's like 400, as long as you're less than 400 times the poverty level, it's not hard. It's not that big of a deal. Now the question is, just because you have insurance doesn't mean you have care. You got to find out if the doctors are still in network. You got to do all that grunt work. But I've had a number of people who are happy with Obamacare. So, to my chagrin, because I can't stand Obama and I can't stand Obamacare, but it is what it is. And as such, I tip the old hat to old Bush Obama. But life insurance, let me just real quick on this. I think a lot of people, they get suckered into this idea that, hey, they don't need life insurance, which may or may not be true. But because they have it at an employer, once they leave, they can transfer that with them, which is true. But you're transferring it based on the portability as if you were a smoker, essentially. And I'm telling you, man, don't make that mistake, because just because it's portable, it's not, and it is guaranteed underwriting, it's not contingent on your own health. And if you're in good shape and you're transferring your health insurance from your employer, that is going to be a significant premium that you should have otherwise not paid, because you could get your own life insurance on a private market if you're in good shape. Conversely, if you're in bad shape and you need health insurance, you better freaking transfer that over, because you're probably not going to qualify. That's a big, big deal.
And that's a couple $100 a month that you're talking about, and just that premium savings or extra cost, right? 100%. So that's something that that you got to do. So the income needs and expenses, that's certainty. The uncertainty is all the insurance stuff, exactly. Right? And also, I would add in there, making sure that you have a safety net, right? Something may not happen to you, may happen to your children or your family member, and you may need to dip into some savings to help out, So making sure that you have not only employer benefits, but like a emergency fund or cash reserve type thing there.
Or a way to pay for those things. I mean, just having exactly. Yeah. All right. So the next one's a big one. I think it's overlooked a lot. You want to talk about number 3, Amar?
Yeah. Managing your health, emotion, mental health, all those things are so key. And this is talking to more the entrepreneurial part of it.
Yes.
Whenever you start a business or a second act, things are not going to go exactly as planned. Right? Things will go wrong. Things will fail, and you'll have to readjust. You'll have to return. But what I think is most important is that making sure that you maintain your health during this environment, right? If you're too close to the grindstone, you're going to make bad decisions. If you're able to like get out and exercise, meditate, yoga, whatever you want to call it, separate from the actual day-to-day grind, you'll be able to make better business decisions. You'll be better able to make decisions for the long run rather than the short run. So what I've told people is put pen to paper and write down what are you going to do to maintain your emotional health, mental health, physical health when things don't go well.
Oh,
right?
man. Yep.
I'm guilty of this. Like when I started my business, with the emotions of ups and downs, like I like to eat junk food. I mean, I have all the Halloween candy for my children here in my office. I easily tap into that. Ice cream, donuts, you name it. So you putting pen to paper, I think, is so important of how you're going to maintain your sanity through this transition.
And that's for everybody. I'm telling you right now. Just because you leave your crappy old job, whether or not you start a new one or go into retirement, man, you doggone better have a plan of action of what you're going to do. Because if you don't, you're going to sit in front of Fox News or MSNBC and just gripe up at the TV because your guy isn't winning. And it's not healthy. And I'm telling you, I've seen it with my very eyes. and don't let that happen. So you have to have something you say, I need to do this every day, whether it's learn Spanish, whether it's freaking, I don't work on making a boat. I don't care what it is. I need to do this every single day. If I don't do it, that's a failure of a day. And you have to have something like that. And that's
something to unplug you from the business. Yeah, I like the creative outlets more. Like building a boat. I think you're referring to Jason. I mean, that was his creative outlet. He was building that boat for
Proctor.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I didn't. No, I was just.
Okay.
Popped out.
Yeah, I mean, like gardening, whatever it is, like a hobby outside of what you're doing to kind of unplug. A lot of people focus on like continuous growth. I mean, the reality is not like that. This is like squiggly line that goes through that, and that squiggly line really just maintaining that. I think is key.
Especially, you're going to have some failures, and you're gonna get depressed, and you're gonna get sad, you're gonna get frustrated. And I look over there at that candy shop called My Pantry, and I'm like, oh, man, let me go get some. You know what I'm saying? You got to have something to alleviate. This along those lines, I would say, making sure. Seems like I'm echoing again. Why is that doing that? It's weird.
I don't know. I can hear you fine.
Okay. But it's like, for me, I had to have a supportive spouse. And Amar, his spouse was the one kicking him in the butt to quit his crappy old job at USA and start his business. My wife was supportive as well. And if I did not have a supportive spouse, I would not be here today. And that's what I'm saying is like, hey, if you're doing this on your own accord without a supportive spouse, that's gonna be tough because she'd be like, or he's gonna be like, well, when do you start making the money? You're like, dude, I'm only 2 months in. And she goes, yeah, it's 2 months. Where's the money come from? You're like, it's gonna take a year. And
yeah, and communication with your spouse, like while you're going through this transition, I mean, it's huge. I mean, Josh, you were driving. How many miles was that?
15 each way, but it was like an hour and a half. I mean, hour probably each way. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, so like making sure that you kind of identify, like, hey, look, these are the benefits, but these are the things that may go wrong. But I'm in it for these benefits, right? So
Jeff says he wants to. His day is be a grumpy old man chases kids off his lawn. So Jeff's gonna be like Joe Biden. Get off my lawn. The emotional stuff is a big deal. I'm telling you right now, you don't need to necessarily be next Viktor Frankl or something like that. But man, have a meaning for your life. You know what I'm saying? Man's Search for Meaning. I think that's his book. You just got to find something because if you don't, you are going to emotionally be chaotic in there. And it's on top of that is the one thing that's hard about being self-employed in particularly is that you're on your own. You're alone a lot. And I will find I get bored. Like I have a certain group routine that I follow on YouTube, and if they're like Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, on a Monday, I'm like, so what else? It's tough to sometimes fill in those gaps, and so you got to find time to do that. All right, number 4, Amar, is allow yourself. This is Giganosaur. Allow yourself to time to know when to change course. Allow yourself time and know when to change course. Talk about that, Amar.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important that you focus on plan A and burn the bridges, but at some point you got to realize like is this working or not, right? Yes. And you have to be objective about it. And so one of the things that I've told clients in the past is say, like, let's define that up front, right? And not the most optimistic what you want to see, but the most pessimistic. Because if you reach that, then you're still going to continue and you're on the right path. So this would look like something like 18 months from now, I want to make sure that I'm at this stage. Or it could look like in this specific bank account, if it goes from X dollars down to Y, then I know I need to start to change course, right? And it's not failure, right? All these things is how you between the ears conceptualize it. A lot of people would say, "Oh, this is failure and this is bad," or it could be feedback, like, "Hey, I'm getting closer to that limit. These are the things I need to change, and I want to do it now before I reach that point where I have to cut off and change gears."
So when I quit my job and my wife wasn't working, and I said, okay, once I get below $100,000 in my retirement accounts, I know I need to change course. You know what I'm saying? And that was including growth too. And I said, once I get below $100,000, we're at an issue. My first year I made $24,000 of income. That was it. And I spent, I pulled $130,000 out of my 401k, taxes and penalties and all that to net $100,000. I knew, I just knew that. I said, once I get below 100, that's going to be my thing. And the interesting thing was what would help me immensely, and I've learned this a long time ago, but you can't say I'm successful when I hit these goals, because you don't control the goals. You just control the inputs, and the goals are going to come or they're not. There's nothing you can do about it as long as you're doing the inputs. And as such, you wake up and you say, I'm at $99,000, and you look at yourself in the mirror and say, did you do the inputs? And if the answer is yes, say, okay, it just wasn't in the cards. And that's okay. But if you say I'm at $99,000 and I say, yeah, I wasn't really doing that much. I was too busy, on fantasy football and all that crap. It sucks, man. You wasted time, and you can't do that. And so you control the inputs. And for me, my input was I have to do a video every single day. I said, and I learned that from a guy named Miles Beckler. He said, do a video once a day. If you're going to get on YouTube, once a day. I said, unless I do a video, I'm a failure. And it didn't matter what the result was. It just meant I had to do it. And that's and then when I knew if I hit $100,000, I was done. I was down to about 124, and I was getting close there. And I said, oof. And then it started changing, which was good. But it took me about 14 months to really start seeing any kind of flow. That's for sure. And now the rest is history. But you got to give yourself that. You got to give yourself some wiggle room. Another thing, Amar, I get people. I don't know if you do, but I imagine maybe. I want to be my own. I want to quit my job, be my own financial advisor. I said, okay. How are you gonna? What are you gonna do? So, well, I'm just gonna quit, and I'm gonna start, knocking on doors or start seminar or something like that. Man, I tell you, you don't start your enterprise from scratch. You build your enterprise while you still have a steady income. That's what I did. Were you doing the same thing, Amar?
Yeah, well, I think what you're talking about is you got to start planning while you have that income, right? You got to start seeing how the different pieces fit together, because if you're planning after you've left the job, well, you're already too late, because now you're stressed. You have all sorts of other things going on just eventually. But I think this is a good segue to number 5, right? And number 5 is really guarding your time and leveraging your time. I think that is huge. One of the reasons why, I guard my time so much is because I can't do everything, right? And so you have to be able to say no to a majority of the things that you're going to be pulled in different directions on, so that you can do the things that you enjoy and that will actually grow the business. And I think guarding your time is really good, really key. And then the second part of that is leveraging your time. So at some point, you may want to hire staff. You got to figure out what the game plan is with that. Josh and I leverage our time by using YouTube, right? Josh was beating me over the head for about a year to start doing YouTube. And I just never got around to it. And now we're doing it. And one of the reasons why that resonated with me is that once we create a video like this video, it's going to live on YouTube, and somebody else may see it a couple of days later or a couple months later, and it will still have an impact on those individuals.
100%. Actually, I just had a guy email me today who lives in Mexico, and he's coming back States. He just got monetized on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It took him about a year, but he got monetized. And, he's not going to make huge bucks right out of the gate. But and I've had 3 or 4 people tell me the same. That's why I've been kicking Amar in the butt, because once you get monetized, it's fun. You actually get paid on videos you've done in the past. It's cool, as long as they don't ban you. And but that was pretty cool. So this guy's like, look, man, I leverage my time for past content. Now, in theory, I'll get paid on past content, which is pretty cool, man. My biggest thing, go ahead, Amar. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, subscribe to my channel.
Yeah. So subscribe to Amar's channel. It's Client First Cap Learning. Client First Cap Learning. And
First Cap Learning, yep.
How many subs you got on there now?
Like 340 or so.
Yeah. Yep. So once he gets 1,000 subs, he can start making that sweet, sweet YouTube money. And now we're going into an election year in 2022. And that's going to be where some big money is, because all these people throw money at YouTube, and they're going to do even more so in 2022. So hopefully, Amar, by the end of this year, you'll have your 1,000 subs. Part two, that leveraging your time. What I had to, and that means also you're going to have to say no to some people. I've had to decline clients who want to see me in face-to-face because I won't do that anymore. It's actually pretty interesting. I used to be big on face-to-face, but the problem is I'm a talkative guy. And I spend a lot of time, with people, driving to the office, setting up. It's just that's a lot of wasted time that just I don't have anymore. And as such, I cannot take people face to face because there's a lot of downtime that isn't efficient use of my own time. And I've had to, turn people down who just, want to meet face to face. I completely get it. I get it. I can't do that. It's not an efficient use of my time. Other people, on the other hand, they say, oh, that's fine. I leverage my time by, I don't know, using somebody else to upload videos. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? Or write blog posts. But you got to learn both. You got to learn how to guard your time. I'm telling you, because I probably get an email a week saying, hey, I want to be a financial advisor. Can I take 15 minutes of your time? No, you can't. That's sad. I wish I could, but I can't. You know what I'm saying? I also get people who say, hey, I want to talk for 15, 20 minutes to see if I'm a good fit for you as a client. I can't do that either. It's not a good, and so I have to tell people no. Some people get turned off by that. That's what you got to do. You've got to guard your time. Until people are willing to pay my mortgage with a 15, 20-minute conversation, I can't do that because money is valuable. And it sounds bad, but you've got to think about that. Every 15-minute block of time, if you're not doing something that either benefits you or is productive, that's a waste. And once you're an entrepreneur, you don't have that time to waste. That's all there is to it. Are you getting emails like that, Amar, where people say, hey, Mark, can you share some, spring? Hey, there's Liam. Liam, you're in the video. You guys want to see me child abuse Liam? Look, I'm punching him right there. Tell the YouTube cops I just punched my son.
No, so, I think the thing that I get is in our industry, when you're managing other people's wealth, you're kind of like the gatekeeper, and you get solicited by all these other firms that want to sell your clients stuff. And the best thing I did was get a 1-800 number that goes to an answering service, and that filters a lot of that out.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yeah. And so leveraging your time is when you're creating content and stuff like that, that's great. But there's other ways to leverage your time by not having distractions, looking at things, like what hours are you most productive?
Oh man, yep.
Creativity wise, or like doing deep work versus other time where you can do other work. So I think managing and leveraging your time is really also stepping back and looking at, all right, hey, this is my last week. How could I have done it better, right? Yeah. How could I have structured this better? How can I have done things that are reoccurring? So there's a lot of different ways to view that, I guess. Should we answer some questions, Josh?
Well, just real quick. It's interesting because Amar comes out from an engineering mindset. So like when we were chatting, I was like, let's just jump on and do it. He's like, no, he didn't say no, but he's like, all right, I'm texting you the 5 bullet points. So like, oh, that's the engineer. Yeah, I don't have that. And as such, I have my own wasteful needs, and Amar has his own wasteful things that you have to kind of come to realization, say, I'm not good at this stuff, and I'm not going to waste time on something I'm not good at. I'm going to focus on good at. So one of those things, Ron said, this guy, Pulverizer, subscribe to you. Amar, you like Pink Floyd?
Yeah.
Anyway, so this guy says, like, how much prep do you do for each video on YouTube? And I don't do any. I read an article. Half the time I don't even read the article. I'll do it, but I don't do any prep at all. And that will drive a guy like Amar probably crazy, frankly. And I'm just using that because I know there are a lot of people who put a lot of prep time into their videos, and I don't. That makes me ill to think about cut and paste, and it kills me. I don't have the patience or the knowledge to do that. So what you see with me is what you get. That doesn't mean it's good. What I mean by that, that's just the way I do it. I'm not good at that. I don't have any attention to detail. Just ask my better half, and she'll agree with that explicitly.
And
but
I'm the exact opposite, right?
Yeah,
In the sense that like I make an outline for every video.
Yep.
I try to do it 2 or 3 times in my head,
Yep.
and then I record the video and then re-record the video, etc. But what I've done to leverage my time is I've outsourced all the editing.
Exactly.
Right? Like I found somebody on Upwork, which is like this website for people that have like background or knowledge base in certain areas that are looking for like one-off gigs, and I found somebody to edit the videos. So once I get like the what I want to say across, then somebody else does everything from that point.
Yep.
Right.
And that's where I don't do, because I have a boatload of content that's out there that I have yet to produce, because I don't like leveraging that stuff, because frankly, it's a matter of trust. It's not trust like these guys can't do it right, but it's like one of those things I can't let go, if that makes sense. And that's a problem I have. So Amar is using his time wisely, leveraging. I can't do that. I'm like, I cannot. Like, I hired a lady out of France who was freaking fantastic, write some blogs for me. I put a couple on my website, but it's just like it's not how I would do it. And as such, I'm like, oh, and I can't say how I would do it. Like, do it like I would do it, because that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
She's done a good job, but I got to go there and edit it. I'm like, I should have just done to begin with. And it's but no one's reading this because it's sitting here in my Google Docs.
Kim has a really good comment here. It's at 9:47. It says, I'm going to write a retirement diary,
right there.
How each week goes, what I learned, what I would change. I mean, this is good. This is like getting feedback, right? Like if you want the best decade, you have to be have a feedback loop to say like what do I want and what is reality, and is there a disconnect between those two?
Yep.
And then this is awesome. And if you look at the next best decade workbook, which Josh put the link up, really what it's trying to do is tell you to identify your values, what's important, create financial goals and people you want to spend that time with that are aligned with what's important with you, and then track your behavior to make sure you actually do that thing. And in our world, how we track that is through expenses.
Yep.
Right? Are you spending money on things that you want to do, which is based off your goals, which is based off of your values?
You know, what I see when I see her, Kim, doing this, I see a book she can sell too later on down the road. Literally, I kept a diary my first year of retirement. Let me share with the world what I've done for $1.99 on Amazon Kindle, and that sucker would be could be a top seller, because people say, "Oh, here's literally what happened to me." If she wants to. Now, a lot of people don't. They don't want to share. I mean, I get that. They're very personal. But if I see that, I say, "Oh man, Kim, you should create a blog post and a running blog. You should create a book on Kindle and just say, this is what I did." And that would go over well. Problem is, a lot of people don't want to share that. And that's I'm an open book. Just ask Charlotte. She goes, I wish you stopped telling everybody your stories about everything you do, like when you took a poop in the woods and stuff. No one needs to know that. Well, yes, they do. No, they don't. They don't need to know that. Kevin says, you cause the echo. Oh, but then Pulverizer says, no, it's only Josh causing the echo. It's going to be a fight, man, a battle royale. So
it's going to be like over the top. Did you ever watch that movie with Sylvester Stallone?
No.
Oh, he was a truck driver. He was like, like arm wrestling movie. Never mind. Maybe not.
Yeah, I might be a little bit too intellectual for that, Amar. Physical health is about volunteering my time to help people's budget, cycling. Yeah, right on, man. Let's see. I live in the perfect solutions for health and emotional social needs. I've heard that a million times, Mushke, about living in the villages. I don't know if you're familiar with the villages over in your neck of
Florida.
Yeah, right on. This guy's going to cancel life insurance once he retires. Let's see. There was a couple. Need a hobby. All right, hold on a second. There's one, the garden, need a healthy routine. All right, right here. I don't have disability insurance, but if I came disabled, Social Security disability would almost be $3,000 a month, and then would automatically have health insurance. There you go. Okay, just make sure that you talk to my man Skip Ritchie before you file a disability claim with Social Security. Just keep that in mind. We did a video with Skip last week. Make sure you got your ducks in a row, because they're not lenient on giving you approval for disability. Just FYI. Right here, another guy at Villages, retiring at the end of the year, moving to the Villages. Right on, Paul. Yep. That's the Villages, too damn hot for me, pardon my French, but I've yet to hear anyone says they don't like the Villages. That's for sure. Best way to select an advisor. That's not a question. That's for future topics, Amar. 5 months of expenses as an emergency fund. What do you think there, Amar? What's your thoughts on that?
It depends. I mean, this is all dependent upon, how much recurring income do you have? How much stable income? If you have like a lot of pensions, then your emergency fund maybe doesn't need to be as high. If you have a lot of investments, then you're probably going to want more than 5 months. You may want a year or two of cash reserves, because markets can go down for multiple years.
I could not agree more. It is right on. So 5 months, is it enough? It really depends. Mushki, so here's a good. She signed up for ACA in Florida, no deductible, $5,000 max out of pocket, $300 a month. I mean, that ain't too shabby, man. And if memory serves, I think you're only. She's not 65. He said, let's see. Kevin said something about healthcare with brother keepers, possible. Okay, so he's talking about the not meta share. It's another one. What those things called? Not meta shares. Health share things. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those health share things, Amar, for health insurance. No, okay. So health shares are where you're buying health insurance, but they don't call it insurance. You're basically pooling your resources with other, almost like a people in the fraternal organization in some regards. So like there's Christian health shares, there's meta share. I'm sure Mormons have one. I'm sure Muslims have one. Jews probably have one. I don't even know if it has to be religious denomination, but basically you're pooling your resources with other religious affiliations, and you're essentially sharing the costs of the people within that affiliation. I was on MetaShare for the first 6 months when I got off Cobra for USA. It was fantastic. The problem is that we have 4 kids. Chloe had a significant pre-existing heart issue with a ventricular tachycardia. And so she was in the NICU for the first month of her life. And we were concerned that MetaShare, if something were to come up with her heart, would not be there to cover it. And they say that explicitly up front. There's no bait and switch. They're like, look, man, I talked to a guy who had back surgery, or maybe I saw him on YouTube. I think I saw him on YouTube is what it was. I forgot. I see their face in front of my head. There's a husband and wife. He said he had some kind of back issue, and he went on some health share program, and they would not, anything that was related to his back, they would not cover. I remember he said that, and I forgot what it was, but they don't cover pre-existing conditions. So that's a drawback right there, which is one of the reasons why health insurance in the regular market is so expensive, because when they mandate coverage of pre-existing conditions, inherently the price goes up. Pulverizer says, don't quit, get laid off, and collect unemployment income. Let's see. Okay, cool. Hold on a second, Amar. All right, so here's Kevin. Met with a financial planner. He is shocked that we live on a fourth of our income. But you don't, Kevin. You lied to him. Is getting out of debt on the list? All right, well, what do you think about that, Amar? How much should someone focus on getting out of debt before they hang up their boots and go on to their second half?
What do I think about that? Or
like how much should someone focus on that? Like, should someone have no debt? You think that's a deal breaker? Or what do you think?
I mean, this is so individualized, because there are people that have, let's look at this. If you look at during 2020, the largest segment of individuals that were refinancing their home mortgage were people that were between the ages of 55 and 65, right? So as they're going into retirement, they're refinancing the mortgage. Now, a lot of people can say, you should be out of debt when you get into retirement. I think that because the lower your fixed expenses, the more volatility your portfolio can handle before. So it's a probability thing, right? But if your portfolio is so large that, that little bit of debt is not going to hurt you, then yeah, you should refinance at these low rates and stretch out that payment. So I think this one's really dependent upon what type of debt and where they are financially.
100% agree. Are we going to do anything on education planning? That's a good one, Amar, to do in the future.
Yeah, like 529 plans and Roth IRAs. I can add that to the list. I'll take notes here. So
We had education planning. We got now I've drawn a blank with there's a couple other in there that draw. We can. Did we write them down?
I've gotten 2 so far. So how to pick a financial advisor, right?
Education planning. There's. All right, so Amar, your podcast on options really changed Chicken Charlie's thinking from a few weeks ago. Fantastic, man. That's good stuff. All right. Let's see. All right, good. So let's hold on. Kind of the echo. It's Amar, man. It's Amar. All right, so good. Let's go down here and see what we got. Do you
too intellectual, Josh? You see that one?
An emergency fund while in retirement if you're doing a multi-year bucket system? I
mean, I think having cash on hand is always good because it's not going to get you the highest rate of return. So if you're looking at it like, oh, did I get the highest rate of return? Cash is going to be a drag on your returns. That there's no question about that. And I guess only in down years would you say that cash has given you performance. But I think what cash allows you to do is have flexibility and control when you need it the most. And the value of that is pretty high. So
could not agree more. Yep. All right, there you go. So my man Scott says, "Go with less" was the YouTube channel I watched where the guy had back issues when it came to his health insurance. He could not get it. He didn't want to get it through a MediShare program. What's the sweet spot amount to withdraw from IRA to still get ACA? Remember, you can still get ACA, Gary. It's just whether or not you get the credit subsidies from your fellow taxpayer. Blame Gary for us going bankrupt. It's 400% above the poverty level. So if you are married, filing jointly, which you are, because somehow you're able to convince a lady to marry you, it's kind of weird if you ask me, but hey, to each his own. So for old Gary here, it'd be, I think it's like $70,000, $68,000 for a married couple filing jointly to qualify for Obamacare subsidies, if that makes sense. So you got to be careful there. You don't want to go above that 70,000 threshold, which is why having cash is such a good, just going back to what Amar said, but cash is trash. I said the flexibility it gives you is insane on so many different levels. It's different when you're building up assets. When you're retiring, it's completely a different game. We got to get focused on the different game of retiring. So this guy says, Josh, you said once that women can have it tough on YouTube. I feel like I could go for it. RN wants, all right, good on him. So here's a lady who's an RN. RN wants to serve as a support person for people having trouble navigating the system. I think it's fantastic, Vortex. Women have it tough just because there's a bunch of clown-ass men who like, yeah, I'd like to see your, you know what? Just freaking delete that crap. However, YouTube is also favorable to ladies because there's not that many. And women, this is going to sound crazy. No, don't get me banned, YouTube. Men like to look at women more than men like to look at men. Crazy, I know. But a lady has an appeal that's more so than a man because women are better looking than men. As such, you don't have to be beautiful, but just showing yourself as a lady is a unique proposition that just makes you appealing more so than just some slug like me. I'm just telling you right now, just do it and just ignore the idiots that are out there. You just got to ignore them. And that's why I don't envy you for having to do that, but ignore them. And there's lots of ladies who are succeeding and doing great. Josh and Amar are two polar opposites. That's funny, man.
I mean, that's why we work well together, I guess. Detail-oriented, big picture type thing in terms of doing these videos, right? We're going to appeal to more people. That is our goal by doing this, right?
Scott was saying that when I said I was too intellectual for you, Amar, he thought that was funny. Let's see. We got appreciate your time. Right on, Kurt.
There's a question here that says, or
this
getting
one?
a HELOC.
Okay.
Or this one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big question. I guess every planner would answer this slightly differently. And what I would say is that if you look at your essential expenses, if your pensions that are inflation indexed and they're from the government, so they're secure, relative to that if you're covering, let's say if you're conservative, 60, 70, 80% of your fixed expenses, then you probably don't need another annuity. I mean, what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I hate to. It's just like you said, it's kind of contingent on the situation. That's tough.
Yeah.
All right. So, how about Amar? Any thoughts on? I don't know if you're getting this to San Diego, relocating out of the country. I mean, is that anything that's coming across your radar? I'm hearing that more and more.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen articles on it that people are, they'll live in another country for 6 months out of the year and then live in the U.S. for 6 months or something like that. It's hard. I mean, we can maybe do a video on this so that way we can do some research. But
I'm not
healthcare infrastructure. Well, like what COVID has taught me is that healthcare infrastructure around the world is different, right? Like, look at me. I'm Indian, right? You see what's going on in India around COVID, right? It's horrible relative to where we're at in the U.S. So
it's funny too, because they used to say Italy has one of the best healthcare systems in the world, and Italy was just a cluster when it came to COVID. You see what I'm saying? It just goes to show you that what they say in the media, what's the reality is two separate different things. Of course, the thing that just infuriates me at the end of the day is talking to these people who are from Japan. Japan, they're thin, they're in shape because they walk, they don't eat huge portions. You see what I'm saying? They're just in shape. And it's like, why are we putting more on our own internal immune systems as opposed to always looking for the pill, some kind of pill to solve us? And it's just until we start focusing on people's internal immune systems, forget the health system other places, focus on your own health system. All right, we'll get out of here in just a second. I think there's one other one I saw. I didn't see the one at HELOCs, Amar. But someone said, okay. Oh, right here.
More videos on.
You see that? Can you read that?
Yeah. 72T.
Yeah. Very good. Right. Oh, right here. No, we already talked about that. All right. I guess. All right. I guess that's it, man. More voting. Okay, that's pretty good. Al. I call him PR Al for Puerto Rican Al, because he goes back and forth. And I said, man, I think Puerto Rico would be kind of cool to live in. Everyone's like, it's too criminal. And I said, really? And I said, how's it as bad as they say? They said, well, some parts of it, but I've never been to Puerto Rico, so I don't know. But it seems to me that'd be a nice place to retire to. More videos on post-retirement behavior to optimize lifestyle expectancy and taxes. All right, I have to chomp on that a little bit. All right, here's the ACA stuff. Married filing jointly, $69,680 is 400% for ACA in 2021. So as long as you keep below that, you'll qualify for subsidies. If you go on healthcare.gov, it'll tell you right there. Look, as I said before, not to use this is stupid. It's not to use if it's available to you and you're right there on the threshold of $65,000 or $75,000. Not to use the ACA subsidies, it just doesn't make any sense. Why would you not do that? It's welfare. It's not welfare. And I'm sorry, that's not welfare. My goodness, can we stop with this crap? I hate that. All right, so Al said, we went through retirement planning. We used a bucket approach for structure, an invaluable tool. All right, right on. I skipped over Eric's squirrel comment. I don't like people from Wisconsin, Amar. They get on my nerves. All right, high debt to asset ratio going to retirement. Would less than 10% debt be acceptable? Yeah, it's that's tough, man. Look, I don't know. All right, I guess that's it here. Health sharing equals, where's Jill? Health sharing equals max freedom. If you're honest on your health history with no upfront, no worries, mine doesn't count some things as pre-existing. You might think others based on, okay, right on. No, I agree, Jill. I think health share is the way to go. I'm going to a Health Freedom Fest up in New Hampshire in June, and we're gonna sponsored by the Mises Institute at Auburn, Alabama, and I'm gonna learn all the new, like we have DPCs, direct primary care, which is I'm freaking hugely fan of. So while everyone else is going to the big government method of single payer, ultimately, there's a growing group of people who are going the true free market method, and it's going to be almost like it's going to be fantastic. And so we got DPCs, we got lots of different. There's a big surgery outfit. I can't remember the name of it. Surgery centers. I forgot what it was called. Out of Oklahoma City. They don't take insurance. You know exactly what you're paying for up front. It's fantastic. And there's going to be a big come to Jesus moment where people are going to, there's going to be a two-tier system in the United States. And the people who are going to just follow the government bureaucracy are going to be stuck in that. And that might be work for them, but there's going to be others that don't need to. They're going to follow a different path. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I think literally and I cannot wait to go to this thing up in New Hampshire. We're going to visit with the Free State Project up there. Going to meet some people, do some videos. It's going to be a good time, man. All right, right here. HELOC before quitting work. This to help with a new business or retirement.
Yeah. Just accessing equity in your house is to help with starting a new business. Could be a cheaper way to finance things than going to the SBA and trying to get a loan as a first-time business owner.
All right, Mar, this one's to you specifically. Would you be comfortable in the cash bucket being in tips? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, cash bucket should be cash. But if you're thinking years 1 or greater, I mean, tips is, and tips are treasury inflation protected securities. So the price and the yield that you get is impacted by inflation. And, we invest in tips, we believe in tips as part of the investment strategy when we're in an inflationary environment. And maybe another video that we could do, Josh, is I can break down, or I can talk about what is our process here at Client Capital.
Absolutely.
How do we manage money? How do we break out the different buckets? Because everybody does it slightly differently. Everybody has pros and cons to how they do it. And so maybe we'll do a video on that.
All right, man. Well, thanks y'all for being here. Amar's got bigger and better fish to fry, i.e. his wife is saying, Amar, clean the dishes.
Yeah, my honey-do list is like a scroll. I think somebody said that earlier, that their significant other gives them enough to do on a daily basis. Go ahead,
Amar.
No, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, hope you guys enjoyed this. We're looking to the audience to get content ideas, so we took down some notes here.
Out of country retirement, that seems to be a big one too. So write that down. Out of country retirement. Here. And we'll definitely talk on that. We just got to do some research. And I got some folks I can chat with who are familiar with the Mexican stuff in Mexico. I know some others in Spain. But I don't know anything about India, for instance. I don't know anything. Panama I'm familiar with in some regard. But if you all guys comments, we'd love to hear for sure. All right, muchas gracias. I'm going to go get my kids outside because school is out here in North Fulton County. And they're sitting around right there just lackadaisical. I just made that word up. And they got to get outside and do some work.
So get them do some gardening.
Right on. All right, guys. Thanks again for being here. Thanks, Mar.
All right, bye now.